Hey everyone, welcome to Creepy InQueeries,
a podcast where we talk about all things creepy, spoopy, and true crimey.
With your hosts,
Miss
Kevin
and Edie, your friendly neighborhood queers.
Boom, ba-ba-boom.
Boom, boom. We're back.
Have either of you started using ba-ba-boom in your normal non-podcasty lives yet?
I haven't had the opportunity.
It's getting perilously close.
Yeah, it's perilously close. I can feel it one of these days, probably a Tuesday. I feel it. I'll just randomly be in a meeting somewhere and someone will say something that I agree with and I will ba-ba-boom.
Ba-boom. Ba-boom, boom. Or ba-doom, boom. I'm not whatever it is not what gunshots sound like.
No. Oh, well, welcome to all you listeners out there. This is episode 43 of Creepy InQueeries Pod. We are coming at you not live, definitwas pre-recorded, definitely heavily edited.
We could never be live.
Super edited. No. So, how was everyone's weekend? Edie, did y'all get up to anything fun?
We did. We definitely did. We went over yesterday. It was a flurry of activity by our standards. We went to our friend's house. They live 2 doors down from us. So it was a real fucking trek to get there.
Ooh, yeah.
We went over, hung out, had apple cider, and played a board game called Betrayal at the House on the Hill. It is a good
I've heard of that game.
It is a good game. It is designed by Wizards of the Coast, the same people who do Dungeons and Dragons. It is a good game. It is fun. There are dice rolls, but it's very easy for non-RPG people because the game just tells you what to do and when to do it. Mm-hmm. So it was really fun. That. Yeah, it's like you can.
I love it.
Glance.
That's all I ask out of any situation.
Honestly,
exactly.
Just tell me what to do. I cannot.
Just tell me what to do.
Glance at the rules. The game tells you what to do. That was really fun. And then afterwards, we went to a restaurant in the neighborhood to have. We had a fancy seafood meal, y'all.
Oh, wonderful.
Wow.
We had a fancy seafood meal, and it happened to be the last night of a dear, dear friend of mine who I used to work at a different restaurant with before I went to law school. It was her last night as a server at this restaurant before she moves onward and upwards to a new venture. In another space that has yet to open. So the universe, the stars just kind of aligned so that we could all be there together at that space on that night. So it was very lovely. We dropped a respectable amount of money on the meal. But it wasn't nice. It wasn't out there. It wasn't out there. By our standards, it was. Yeah, we're
oh yeah, go cray.
We're absolute deal hunters. So when we weren't hunting for a deal, we spent a regular amount of date night money. So that was really, really nice. And after the record today, I'm going to do an insane amount of laundry before this upcoming week.
All right, I got you there. I did all of the laundry earlier this week.
You need to do it, miss?
Yeah, but not having a dryer is really...
That really fucks it up.
It really takes the motivation out of it.
That does hamper things, doesn't it?
Oh, Pun King! Listener, the Pun King is delighted with himself right now.
Speaking of Pun King...
Delighted.
Punking. There is a delightful queer teen movie on Hulu right now about, what are they doing? They're in high school. It's just like a lesbian, like love story triangle situation. And it's a high school movie that like doesn't suck. One of the characters is a pun king. And that's like their tag
I didn't sign
name.
any releases.
Oh, there can only be one pun
Hold
king.
on.
These are Highlander rules.
Did you copyright
You have
it?
to fight to the death.
Oh, I will have my lawyer reach out.
No, I mean, did you copyright it though?
He thought about copywriting it, which, as we all know, is good enough.
I thought about it being copywritten.
It's good enough.
So the answer is no. Okay.
We're going to wait for a judge to decide that.
That is a lot of words just to say no.
We're just going to wait for the judge to decide.
What is the name of this movie?
I got to look it up.
Can you give us the name of this?
It's really cute. It's Crush. It's called Crush.
Crush?
Yes. Crush on Hulu.
It's just a little crush.
Honestly, that's what I thought the entire time. And because it's now, they don't have that song in there. But they also did some very daring things with a curled under bang like I would have had in 7th and 8th grade.
All that shit's coming back. Baby bangs are back.
It's the
all that
main
shit's back.
character. So of course she's like really cute and like, yeah, it sucks. And I'm like, all the time I wore those fucking hideous bangs. The practical
everybody else,
decade.
Yeah. Oh God. I
know.
I did the baby bang thing where I would dye the baby bangs. I would dye the curled over baby bangs different colors because I had a uniform at school.
Yeah.
So we couldn't express yourself in clothing.
Oh God, that's all I wanted. All I wanted was a uniform.
You didn't. You did.
I did not want to express myself. I did not want to pick out my clothes. Kevin, would I not have benefited greatly from a uniform?
Look, that's a very heavy question for me to answer so quickly on the spot. I'm not stalling to answer at all.
He's not stalling.
He's not stalling. It's not something he does.
But there is a pun king of which I will be
in Crush.
my attorney.
Please,
thank you for telling me that.
Please check it out before you sue, though, because it is cute. It's a very cute movie.
But I will not go on record. I will not be able to say whether I liked it or not if I have watched it, because that would hurt my case, I'm sure.
After you watch the movie, you're going to drop the case because it's so cute.
I'm glad that cute teen movies are coming back. I'm glad that there's more like cute teen stuff. Also, like the teen movies that we grew up with were like
horrible,
problematic,
just so problematic.
It's a lot of problems. She's all that. A lot of problems.
There's a lot of just taking down ponytails.
What was the one with fucking Cisco? There was one with Ben Foster and Cisco. What is
She's
the
All
one?
That?
No, it's not She's All That. Get Over It also has Kirsten Dunst. Mila Kunis is in the mix. That one, I'm sure, problematic.
But you know what was not problematic in the 90s? A movie, a classic? It was Hocus Pocus. And your boy watched Hocus Pocus 2 over the weekend.
A Scloozy review of Hocus Pocus 2. Scloozy.
I'm not going to give any spoilers away. I enjoyed it. There were plenty of LOL moments throughout. There were
earnest or ironic LOL moments.
Earnest.
Nice.
Tony Hale's in it. He gives good performance.
Love Tony Hale. Glad that
he's great.
He's doing like a fair amount of stuff post Buster, and I'm glad of it.
Yes. Oh God, yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed it. There was just the little question about the ending that I would have taken in a different direction.
Did they turn into glitter again?
This is the softest passive aggressive critique I've ever fucking
because
heard.
I don't want to be angry. I'm not angry with it. He's so happy that it happened.
He's not angry. His face is getting red, but he's not angry.
That is so not true, Uncle Edie.
Because that was
Uncle Kevin, I'm viewing your face. I'm viewing your face and it's becoming pinker and pinker with rage.
It was too soft to be sincere, is what I meant.
I sincerely though, I enjoyed it. Sincerely.
I am glad that you enjoyed it.
And
the more that
should
you say
watch it.
sincerely, the less I believe you. But I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I'm glad that you say you enjoyed it.
No, trust me, I'm trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly that.
Fuck yeah. Well, yeah. Miss, what did you do this weekend?
Oh, he asked with apprehension because, he's going to get a weird answer. What did I do this weekend? I went and got my registration for the title for Pennsylvania for my car yesterday.
Huge news.
I started walking to work. That's been nice.
Exercise.
They may or may not have been interrelated. And I'm not taking any questions on that at this time.
She had to walk to work because her car didn't have registration. And then now she's making it seem like it was a choice.
Bold claim. I don't know. This is you'll hear from my lawyer. This is defamation.
Wow, all of our lawyers are getting hella paid soon.
But I actually only needed to do it like 2 days, and I kept doing it the other days because I really liked it. Mm-hmm. So
there we go.
I support that.
I was gonna get my fall decor out, but somehow I didn't put the lid too tight on the tote, and the cats peed in it at some point, so I just threw it all away.
No.
Yeah. Well, that included my Christmas tree as well that I just got last year, and for a second I was like, I can just clean it, and then I was like, nope. It's been sitting there for almost. It's been sitting there for almost a year.
Yeah, you deserve better.
I do deserve better than that.
You're like,
and
I don't want to try to make a cat pee Christmas tree work. I know
I was gonna try to clean it. Like I was gonna try to because it's fake. So I was gonna try to
Yeah, but how? How would you clean it? With what?
I don't know. There's enzyme cleaners and shit.
409? I don't.
And I
hose
didn't
it
do
down.
it. So I'm not gonna do that. Might hit up a dollar store or a Target at some point, but all I really want is just a candle that smells like leaves in every room.
And all I really want.
Oh God, yes, that's Alanis.
Like a little pill.
Yes.
Come on,
it's Alanis. Yeah, I knew
it's Alanis. The soundtrack to me punching steel in the arm.
Oh man, you weren't kidding, Edie.
I texted visual confirmation of nowadays steel to Miss and Kevin this morning because of course that was the thing that I did when I awoke this morning. When I greeted the day this morning, I thought, how would I go down a path of pain and misery and revisit
self-destruction,
one of the bully families of my childhood, and see what all of them are up to. If you're confused about the time that I punched steel in the arm while listening to Jagged Little Pill, take a listen to Jibber Jabber episode 2 that we released on Sunday, and the entire sad saga will be revealed to you.
Yes. And speaking of Jibber Jabber episode 2, remember how I gave the one clue about my true crime story today?
Yes. It's got to be the food fight killer, right? Miss got it?
Food fight.
Food fight
killer. Yeah. The mashed potato splayer.
On Jibber Jabber, I did say the clue for my show today was food. That's all.
Gruesome gravy gutter.
The gruesome gravy gutter, Miss. I love it.
Well, actually, Miss, you're damn close with the word gravy.
Stop.
Ew. I hate that. I hate that I'm close
I hope
with gravy.
That just
slathered
entices you to know more.
That just settled. Ooh.
Let it congeal.
Well, my job here is done. Everyone, that was a great episode. We'll see you next week. So I will begin this tale. But before I even begin, the story that I'm about to tell you is quintessentially and aggressively New York.
Okay.
Hey,
the only way it could get
true crime in here.
The only way it could get more New York is if Mariska Hargitay and Ice-T were spotted filming in the area.
Oh, so tomato gravy. We're talking about tomato gravy, not poultry
She's getting
gravy.
parts of it.
Oh my God. We're talking marinara.
Yeah. Tomato
We
gravy.
are
Okay.
on a goddamn journey together, and
Okay.
you
We're
are in
New
the
York.
headspace.
It's gravy. I'm guessing we're Italian. All right. Give it to me.
Today's story starts out with a story from me. Last year.
Kevin, you're the worst. What is
He's delighted with his own damn self.
He's delighted. He is.
I thought, I was like, how do I begin this story? Oh, I'll segue in from me. And then we'll go from there.
Perfect. I'll start with me and segue back to me.
Last year, my husband and I, we visited his family in Brooklyn for Halloween. The whole weekend was great. We went ice skating with our nibblings. We went trick-or-treating in a full family-themed costume fantasy.
Yep. You were a squid and Ben was an octopus.
That's right. We also had
Marine
a whale,
life.
a shark, a lobster, a pirate, and a sea fairy in our under the sea.
Okay, yeah, the last two a little bit shoehorned, but I appreciate it.
Left field, but
sea fairies totally exist, and I will give you one main example. Trish,
that's right. True. Trish,
that's
the sea fairy.
That's all I have to
say.
Right.
You're right.
All right.
So,
all right, Trish.
While we were there, one of the other family activities that we wanted to do was get some really good Sicilian style pizza.
Okay. And that's a thick crust, right?
You're right. Yes.
Okay.
Sicilian style is more of like a tomato pie. It's a square focaccia, almost thick crust. It's very doughy. And basically, you just need some good tomato sauce to be put on top of that. Maybe some crumbled Parmesan, but that's it. And that is a Sicilian style pizza.
Guys, listeners, you can't see now, but talking about this pizza, Kevin's got an Italian hand up, waving it at the camera as if he's on a cooking show.
Anybody seen Richie?
I'm telling you, the story.
The
just
hand
brings
move
me,
like he's just possessed by Brooklyn. Okay, let's go.
It brings me into a headspace. Okay. So, my brother-in-law is a foodie and literally knows any great food spot in any of those 5 boroughs. He knew where the top-notch place to get Sicilian pizza. We went to a little restaurant named L&B Spumoni Gardens. Spumoni Gardens is located in the Gravesend neighborhood of Brooklyn, which is in southern Brooklyn. It's about 5 miles away from Coney Island. Very old and very established Italian neighborhoods are in this area. The restaurant has been a pizza place since the year 1938, from what I saw on their menus. I gotta say, they made some damn good pizza.
Yeah?
My people make good pizza.
What was it? Same. What's it And that's the end of the story, guys.
And that's it. And they also do Italian flavored ices. And that was my story. Yeah, but they're also known for their Italian flavored ices and their spumoni, of course. And it's around this restaurant that today's story revolves.
So we've got pizza, we've got Brooklyn, we've got circa 1939. It's too late for me to think it's about liquor and the mob.
But it could be about
It's not too late for it to be the mob, which was very strong in circa 1939.
I love where all of your heads are at.
Are we wrong?
This story, though, will be set in modern times, but I still like where your head's at, okay? So keep that there.
All right.
On Thursday, June 30th, 2016.
What?
Around 2016. Around 7 p.m., Lulu Barbati, the 4th generation owner of Spumoni Gardens, was arriving back home in his Diker Heights neighborhood, which was not too far from the restaurant.
What did you call me?
Diker? I hardly know her.
Damn it. Damn it.
Come on, this is serious stuff, people. We got a true crime podcast we're working on.
You said it, dum-dum.
I did say it.
Diker damn near opened up a home equity line of credit with her.
Stop. Stop it.
Lulu Barbati. Lulu is what his childhood nickname was that followed him for the rest of his life.
Does not sound scary with a name like Lulu.
Well, Lulu actually, in terms of being a father to his 2 kids, he always made sure to eat dinner with his family every night.
Great.
So that's why he was arriving home around 7 p.m.
Okay.
As he was getting out of his car, someone was waiting for him in the shadows.
Rude.
And with his wife and 2 kids inside the house setting the dinner table, Lulu was approached by that person, and that person had a gun. 5 shots are heard, and then silence. When his wife runs out to see what was the matter, and that's where she found her husband dead in a pool of blood.
Great.
Lulu.
Poor Lulu. What's
Just a
weird,
pizza
though,
guy.
is that the jewelry that Lulu was wearing was untouched. And that was like easily a few hundo.
He was just like a real gaudy situation.
Yeah, he's your typical Italian pizza restaurant owning Brooklynite.
Yeah.
You know,
you're going to have a chain. You're going to have a pinky ring. You're going to have a watch. You're going to have a bracelet.
All
Absolutely.
of that. So that was weird. But even more strangely, Lulu had a bag that had over $15,000 in cash.
What?
But that was still found lying next to him.
That's interesting.
Very interesting, right?
Did he just forget to stop at the bank going after coming home from the
for
restaurant?
a pizza place, I used to do at a pizza place when I was an assistant manager. I used to take the cash to the bank. And this was a busy pizza place, right? And it was never, it was 15 grand this guy had. It was never even fucking close to 15 grand.
I bet you it was never in a duffel bag either.
No, it was not. It was in a
bank bag.
A bank bag.
So this is all crucial things, and you are absolutely starting to think like a member of the press or an enforcement officer. I'm sorry.
How dare you, Kevin? How dare you?
Sorry,
Kevin.
I'm sorry. I will bleep myself.
So is it the mom? Was it a hit?
So, do we know anything right now? No. Police rushed to the scene, and all they could do was pronounce Lulu Barbati, who was aged 61, dead at the scene.
Oh, I thought he was younger. Okay.
So any life taken is horrific. It's shocking. This instance is no different. Lulu and the Barbati name were a fixture in their neighborhoods. Every local knows that name because they've been eating at that family's restaurant for almost a century, I think. People knew that name, and they figured, what the hell just happened? Cops, they're baffled. They don't know what a possible motive could be at the moment. Was it a robbery gone wrong? Was he having an affair? Was he into some kind of shady business venture? We don't know.
Was the money planted?
Was the money planted? Exactly.
By the shooter.
What the fuck is going on?
All right.
So the cops were baffled by the crime scene, and they had extremely scant evidence to go off of. They had a few eyewitnesses from the neighborhood that said that they saw a white man getting into what appeared to be a white Acura a little after the time of the gunshots.
Weird choice.
They would eventually get some grainy ass security camera footage too, and it was not a lot. It did not show anybody's face. What it did show was there was a man. He was white. He was wearing a hood, and he had a long sleeve hoodie on. He was carrying a gun. But that's really all that it could tell us. It did not show the scene itself or the crime take place. It didn't show him getting in the car and driving away. It just saw him crossing someone's front yard, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they start because they just started investigating all possibilities because fuck, maybe it is mafia stuff,
I mean, he's Italian.
Hey, now.
It's Brooklyn.
Hey, now.
Hey. Now.
Not all of my people are mobbed up. Only some.
Only some.
And my Italians are not from New York, so we're perfectly clean.
Yes, perfectly clean, but they are from Sicily, right?
That's not what I said.
That's not what you said. But I know this will shock both of you to hear. But Spumoni Gardens may have had some connections to some well-known crime families in their past.
What? No.
In fact,
No, in Brooklyn, in New York,
I am shocked.
Italian. Okay.
In fact, a fucking mob war almost began because of their pizza.
Stop it.
Because of their pizza.
What?
And I'm going to tell you about it.
We take our pizza very
yes.
seriously.
It sounds incredible. It sounds like I might actually be behind violence for once in my life.
Literally, like in 2009, according to the New York Times, a former employee of Spumoni Gardens, his name was Eugene Lombardo. He left Lulu's place. He went back to his home on Staten Island. Eugene had the bright idea to open his own Sicilian pizza parlor on Staten Island.
That sounds like a really stupid idea, buddy.
Did he take the sauce recipe?
According to the New York Times article, he may have used the same pizza sauce recipe for his potato patties.
Oh, no. That's proprietary, friend.
A sin worse than murder.
No.
And not just proprietary. It was perfected by Lulu's grandfather.
Oh,
Right.
no. My no came up with that. Oh, gosh. That's so fucking funny.
But do you think that Eugene would even try to hide it too? No.
No, he sounds like an idiot.
He put up a goddamn sign and it said, "Best pizza, just like L&B Spumoni Gardens."
Shut the fuck up, that idiot.
Okay,
Bruising for a bruising.
If you're comparing it to something else, then it's not better than. It's equal to at best.
At best.
At best. And then you're just like, hey, I used to work there and I stole the recipe.
It's weird that you're reading it like that, because I think Lulu also kind of read it that way too. He was
sensitive.
None too happy when he heard about all this mishigas. So entering the scene now is a dude named Frank Guerra, Guerra. He is a guy who, at the time, was married to a woman who co-owned Spumoni Gardens along with Lulu and about 3 other people.
Oh, okay. So he was only one owner.
So Frank, I don't know if Lulu had anything to do with this, but Frank decided he was going to go up to Staten Island and give him a little talking to Eugene Lombardo.
Sounds like
And that's what he did.
Yeah, great. Just want to talk.
And with him, Frank brought his friend Anthony Chucky Russo. And you see,
he sounds like a talker.
If you've got a nickname, there's
horrible things
some
were
problems.
I don't know what you're talking about, Edie. I don't know what you're talking about, Miss, because Chucky, all he was just a former capo in the Colombo crime family. Nothing.
Chucky's
major.
not cute if your first name is Anthony. If your first name is Anthony and your nickname is Chucky, you did some fucked up shit. I'm just going to say it.
And my dumbass, I was like, oh, I'm sure he went by Tony. So as I was writing this, I only read the guy's name as Anthony Russo in the article. But once I was reading other articles about it and found more research, then I found out his name was Chucky. I was like, oh, okay, hold on now.
Chuckles.
He's a villain. I can feel this.
Yep.
I don't know too much.
Right.
I knew shit about fuck when it came to mafia hierarchy. I obviously don't know.
I mean, I know
either,
skeleton.
so I looked it up.
Yeah.
So at the top of the chain, obviously, is the boss. Mm-hmm. And the boss's second in command is the underboss. Mm-hmm. So with that underboss, they can have multiple capos or captains reporting to him. Mm-hmm. And the capos are the ones that are, I believe, on the streets keeping their soldiers, dudes, getting the biddings done, really, getting the money.
Right. They're in charge of the people who do the grunt work.
I believe that is the case for a capo.
So, yeah.
So Chucky and Mr. Frank Guerra, who also may have had a tangential relationship with the Colombo crime family, started either roughing up Eugene or just threatening to do so, depending on which article you read. I literally read both.
A threat could be physical.
Like they went over, I'm sure it went something like this. Hey, Are you Eugene Lombardo? Yes. Well, my name is Chucky Russo.
My name
You
is
better stop
Charles
using my pizza
Entertainment
sauce.
Cheese.
Capiche? So
I was holding it in for so long and I had to
I didn't know his middle name was Entertainment.
That's what the E stands for.
yes,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes,
I had
that's
no
what
idea.
it stands for.
Wow, you learned so much on this show.
So we're gonna fast forward. That was all 2009.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
Yes.
But Frank did get caught, and he is now currently locked up.
Well,
And he was locked up during the time of Lulu's murder.
Okay, so it wasn't Frank.
No, it wasn't Frank. He was in prison serving time for dealing Oxycontin.
That's what they get him for. Of course.
2016 summer, they're still trying to investigate who killed him, why. Investigators were starting, though, to figure out kind of any mafia connection was really leading to dead ends.
it's racist.
It's unfortunate because, of course, when news broke out of his murder, that's all the
anybody wants to talk about, because you've got a dead Italian with the 15 grand in cash, all these
in a duffel bag,
and the
last front lawn,
and the last 50 years of movies have absolutely poisoned America against my people.
I mean, but it happened in real life.
But
it's neither here nor there.
Listen, they're my people too. That doesn't mean I like everything that they do.
But it wasn't until November of that year, 2016, that a break in the case would come when a suspect was finally identified. So they released what information they had on the suspect. They released the footage. They released any kind of photos. They released any descriptions that they had of him. They put up an award, about $2,500 in a Crime Stoppers reward.
Okay.
The Barbati family themselves ended up putting $50,000 of their own money.
Yeah, because the Crime Stoppers reward is pennies. Here, give us
pennies.
$2,500 for information on.
And so after the footage was released, there was a Crime Stoppers caller who identified the man named Andres Fernandez.
All right.
Probably not mafia related. Originally from Brooklyn, Fernandez was living on Long Island at the time of the murder.
Long Island.
He had a minor criminal record, and he drove a white Acura TLR. Who knows?
But criminal defense attorney Edie, your face made a series of emotions. Would you like to explain that?
All this video shows is that there's a guy with the white Acura that was walking around and had a gun. A lot of people have guns and walk around.
But they did identify Andres Fernandez. They did find him and arrest him at his home in early November of 2016, and he was formally indicted on December 9th of 2016. Mm-hmm. When he was arrested, he requested a lawyer and refused to make any statement.
Excellent, Andres.
Excellent work.
Honestly, I think that's the first time we've had a smart person on this show.
I know.
Yes.
At the very least, like, he absolutely did it, but like, let us just
that's neither here nor there. He did the
he did that right thing.
Got his lawyer.
Don't give them anything, whether you did it or didn't. Don't.
If you think you're just helping yourself, you're not.
You never are.
You're never helping yourself.
He was charged with second-degree murder, first-degree attempted robbery, and second-degree criminal possession of a weapon.
How did they get attempted robbery out of this?
Substantial steps, Edie.
Well, but here's the deal, though. He could have just picked up the bag, and they don't have any. The guy who was allegedly attempted to be robbed is dead. So how is he going to say, "Oh yeah, this guy came up and said your money or your life"?
Right.
And I mean, if he wanted to rob this guy, he could have just taken the bag.
Right.
Obviously.
But that was the entire, I believe that was the gist of the prosecutor's case. They basically were saying
he wanted the bag, but then he freaked out and shot him and couldn't take the bag. Bullshit. He would have taken the bag.
That's what they were saying.
That's stupid. That charge is stupid.
Theory.
Did they have another witness?
They did not have witness. They have a lot of circumstantial evidence, though.
Yeah.
So when they arrested him, prosecutors did find a white Acura in his garage. The clothes matching what was being worn on the security footage was also
You mean a long sleeve
found.
hoodie?
So he was on the video.
That every person in America owns?
The business card of Spumoni Gardens was found in his wallet with Lulu's home address written on the back of the card.
Not good.
Okay.
Not good.
Yeah, not great.
Maybe
get rid of that.
Maybe don't keep it in your fucking wallet.
His cell phone tower pings showed him in the area of Lulu's house during the day of the murder.
Yeah, not great.
Like, they had a lot of evidence against him. He didn't say anything.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not.
I mean, it is circumstantial. You put it in front of
there's
the jury.
no difference between circumstantial evidence.
No, there's
and
no
evidence, but
no, there's no difference in weight. There's no difference in anything.
I mean,
and it matters with juries.
Altogether, I can see how you could convict on it, but like,
I think it's the wrong charge.
There's not a ton.
What if they also had some security footage showing him at Spumoni Gardens the same day, just earlier?
Well, you didn't say that, did you? That's pretty.
So they had that.
Yeah, that's not great.
Damning.
What's his beef with Lulu and Spumoni Gardens?
So he knows. Well, he did the right thing in asking for his attorney, even if he was
right.
fucking up.
And as far as I've been able to surmise from all the articles and videos that I watched on this, Fernandez didn't say much of anything before, during, or after the trial.
Good.
During the trial, as someone who was a friend of the Barbati family that was in the courtroom said that he just sat there like he was sitting on a park bench watching birds. He was just twiddling his thumbs. The jury, after they deliberated, convicted him on the second-degree murder charge and the second-degree criminal possession of a weapons charge. They did not convict him on the first-degree robbery.
Good. Yeah, okay. At least that makes sense.
Enough.
I can see how they can get him on the murder. I can see that.
Yeah, the murder is a lot more clear when you're talking about the business card and video.
Yeah.
Why, if not for the bag of cash?
Why did this happen?
So let's talk about motive. Everybody wants a motive. Motive. You know what? There is no motive. He has never said why. Police have never been able to find a connection between him and Lulu Barbati. They looked at anything, any possible connection. They, to this day, have no idea.
That's so strange. And Andres, he didn't have he had like kind of a minor record. So he's not like
he had a
guy
minor criminal
who's
record.
done stuff.
And he wasn't like
this
linked
before?
to the same families or anything.
Right. He had no links to organized crimes. He had no links to apparently the kind of neighborhood in that way. They didn't overlap at, they looked, I guess, at gyms, at clubs, I guess they went to. Any kind of connection, could not find anything. So Andres has been sentenced to 24 years to life in prison.
Mm-hmm.
He has still remained silent on the motive. And that must be so fucking frustrating for the Barbati family.
Yeah, that must be
just
frustrating.
all these open-ended questions. Why was the money left? Did he even know that there was money in the bag? Why did he do this? Like why?
I would assume the motivation is not money.
If he was paid by somebody else to do this,
right?
And maybe he's staying silent because
that makes more sense to me.
It's contingent. His silence forever is contingent on, I don't know, his family safety.
Maybe
keeping the money. I don't know. That's wild speculation on my part.
Yeah. Maybe he just owed the wrong person a favor.
That is so strange.
So you ate at this place?
So I ate at this place.
And their pizza's pretty good, huh?
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's still open. They survived the murder. All right.
Oh yeah.
All right.
They're they're hopping still. Like to this day, they are like slammed 24/7.
But yeah.
There is very briefly another dark childhood Uncle Edie story about a pizza place murder.
Oh, you sad stories.
Sad
stories.
My grandfather used to go to this pizza place, and I'll tell you, but maybe we should bleep it out. My grandfather, who lived with us and was a dear, dear person in my life, used to go every day for lunch at a pizza place in Baltimore called
Mm-hmm.
And he became best friends with the guy who worked there. It was Little Marty was his best friend for ages because he went and had lunch every day. All of a sudden, one day, I guess the guy who owns the place, dead, murdered.
No.
It was allegedly a conspiracy between several of the employees of this place, including Little Marty.
Wow.
My grandfather's best friend. And
Little
when this
Marty.
happened, my grandfather was devastated. He was devastated. He was
course.
so mad at Little Marty. He was so mad. Like, how could
you, Little
how could
Marty?
he do this?
This is all to say, listeners, if you're in the Gravesend neighborhood of Southern
Want some
Brooklyn,
pizza?
check out L&B Spumoni Gardens and try their Italian ices.
And other Italian flavored foods.
And Italian flavored foods.
Who's ready for a gear change?
Would love a gear change. I've had enough of pizza. It's time for dessert.
Yes, there's always room for...
You're not getting dessert. But what you are getting is another sort of two-parter where it's one story. And I was doing the whole thing. First, I started doing it as a spoop. And then I was getting into it. And I was like, well, actually, there's a lot of like good true crime stuff here. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll do it for the true crime. And then I was like, but like the true crime spoop, it kind of intertwines the entire time and then gets real true crimey at the end. So what we're doing the next 2 weeks is today we are doing basically half the story, which is the spoop.
Okay.
And then next week will be the continuation of the end.
Love it. Love a cliffhanger. Love a two-parter.
Love it.
I've never heard of this lady, and I am into her, and I hope you are too. Okay, so for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be talking about Catherine Montvoisin. She was born circa 1640 in France, most likely Paris. We know next to nothing about her childhood, only that she became a fortune teller by the time she was 9 years old and said that God had given her the gift.
Yes. Child fortune teller.
Yeah, and like the sources I said, they're like, we don't know anything about her childhood, but we're going to be safe in our assumption that it was not good because she was a professional fortune teller by the time she was 9 years old. And I was like, that's a pretty fair assumption.
That's fair for sure.
No, you don't like have a governess and also a side gig as a child fortune teller.
By the time she's 20, she's married to Antoine Montvoisin, a jeweler and silk merchant with a shop in Pointe-Marie, Paris. Things were on the up and up for Catherine. She was married to a successful merchant, and she was going to pop out 3 healthy babies. Unfortunately, Antoine was described as incompetent and unreliable, and his business quickly failed.
Oh, he was a doof. No, she got a doof. She got a dud.
Yeah, she got it done. So Catherine took up work as a midwife. And here's the thing. I don't know if she had this skill and then continued it professionally, or if she just decided to be a midwife and became one. Either way, she's a midwife.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Without thinking at all, I looked up 17th century midwifery.
No. That's not something you want to know about.
And I am changed. So
I'll just reach in and grab them, punch it out of them.
So basically, the ancient Romans decided that it was beneath male doctors it was beneath doctors and medical treaters to treat pregnant women because they were disgusting.
Okay,
and it would
cool.
honestly, it was considered a debasement for a doctor to treat a pregnant lady. And fortunately, this practice continued through the Middle Ages into the time that we're in our story here, and continue to have repercussions in this field to this day.
Like, did they realize or care that these pregnant women sometimes give birth to precious boys? Did they care?
Not until the boy was out.
I guess
not until they were
true.
done doing their duty.
It's the opposite of being a Republican. They only care once
That's
before.
so true. That's
it's so
so
funny
true.
you say that. We're going to get into some of that in a little bit.
Son of a bitch.
But this meant that there's a huge gap in 50% of the population, the care of 50% of the population. Women developed midwifery through just systems of groups of women in different communities. They learned from each other. They traded secrets and trades. From what I gather, it was real hands-on learning experience.
Oh, Christ.
And before this time, there had been a few texts on midwifery, but they were all written by men who had no practical experience with pregnant women or giving birth. So not only was Antoine's business failing, he was in massive debt, but Catherine refused to return to a life on the streets. The midwifery was barely paying the bills, and she wanted more. So for a price, Catherine performed abortions reasonably well, considering clients would come back to her for services time and again. So she wasn't killing them, at least. And she was an herbalist, so she could help with aches and pains and occasionally the light infection. And y'all, I ruined myself again by looking into 17th century abortions.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Honestly, they were fine. Honestly,
brutal.
they were just, it's 90% just herbs.
Yeah.
It's really
That
not
makes sense.
bad.
Like,
And, like,
poison
honestly,
yourself a little bit and it'll take care of the unwanted pregnancy.
I mean,
and
it's not
you'll survive.
It's not different than
like
than
right now it's like
abortion.
poison yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Most of what I found was not from Europe, but from colonial America. We'll see. I'm sure they came from Europe at the time. Practices might be different, but from a legal perspective, it was easier to get an abortion in New England in the 1700s than it is today in Texas. Quote, abortion was not just legal. It was safe, condoned, and practiced in colonial America, common enough to appear in legal and medical records of the period. Official abortion laws did not appear on the books in the United States until 1821, and it was only just preventing abortions after quickening. And quickening is when the mother can feel the baby kick. Yeah. So anything before that, nobody gave a shit about. There was no societal problem with it. There was no religious problem with it. And it wasn't until 1860s when the practice was forbidden completely. And in the 1860s, I need y'all to think about what was going on in America. The Civil War, where people were dying by the hundreds of thousands. So I need you to think about that connection, and they're still deeply connected. I just thought it was fascinating, and I think we can all use a reminder that abortion has existed as long as pregnancies have existed, and it's only in the very recent history that we've ever had a problem with it. The family is surviving, if not thriving. Catherine takes full control over the finances and starts adding divination to her discreet services.
Yes,
which is
Professor Trelawney up in here.
Yep.
Which is the art of foreseeing or foretelling the future. And she did this by palm reading, face reading. She did a lot of telling depressed, unsatisfied housewives how to better their marriages or escape them.
So it's either like, don't forget about the balls, or just like get a go bag and get out of there.
Yeah, or here's what you can do to make him extra tired so he won't hear you leaving.
Excellent. Yeah. Just put a little bit of this in his tea.
So honestly, the biggest money was coming from abortions for her, and she was doing very well. She was not only supporting, but really thriving She was supporting herself, her husband, her 3 kids, and her mother, and they were all doing very well.
Damn.
She collected huge amounts of money from the abortions because most of her clients were from the French aristocracy. So her connections brought her in close proximity to the Paris elite.
Yes. Ooh, is she Rasputining?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God.
La Voisin, as she now went by, she's no longer Catherine, she's La Voisin.
Yes.
She started noticing a pattern. Most of the women she served, if not all, wanted something from the men in their lives. Some wanted men to become their husbands. Some wanted their husbands dead. Some wanted to inherit their fortune. So she started making love potions and aphrodisiacs.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Just put whatever bullshit in a fancy little vial and you can sell it as much as you want to sell it for.
A typical La Voisin love potion would include obvious ingredients like the bones of toads, the teeth of moles, Spanish fly, iron fillings, human blood, and mummy dust, aka the dust of human bones. Her spiritual abilities were becoming more and more admired, especially as she claimed, again, that all of her powers came from God, and even based her medical work on what information she attained from reading the faces and forecasting the future of her patients. Catherine also had a good old-fashioned nemesis, Marie Bosset, who will become much more important next week, and we'll really kind of get into her next week. She ran a very similar
You're in
business
danger, Marie. You're in danger.
So she runs a very similar business as La Voisin, and both women were making a living in the vicious competition for influence at the court of King Louis XIV.
Yes, Rasputin!
AKA Louis the Great, AKA the Sun King. Royal favor could not only lift up a person's status, but it could also make their entire family rich for generations. La Voisin really wanted that money.
Yeah.
But falling out of favor resulted in banishment, life imprisonment, but most likely death. Double-edged sword.
Worth the risk. Like, fucking go for it.
I mean, live or don't. That's your option right there.
Yeah.
To build up her mystique, she had her own office and her own workspace that she was known to decorate dramatically. She had this, and this is like the 1660s, so think about this. She had like a blood red velvet robe like made when the only people who were supposed to wear red at the time were in the Catholic Church.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Like in most of Italy, there were laws against wearing like the color red. I don't think that's the case in France. I just thought it was good context to see how badass she did. And so it was
that fucking rules so much. Listener, you can't see me dancing, but I am.
It cost 1,500 livres. I don't know how much money that is, but
I mean,
it
a
was
lot. Sounds like a lot.
1660s. Sounds like a lot. And it's a blood red velvet robe embroidered with images of eagles in golden thread. She spent a lot of money on her image, and the investment worked. It made her clients feel like she knew what she was doing. It was all very horrible Eastern mystique kind of bullshit of the time.
Totally.
And aside from the blessing of the aristocrats and the richies, the other reason she was so famous is because she seemingly had the blessing of the church. Some parts of the church disapproved of her work, and in 1665, a priest of St. Vincent de Paul's order, the Congregation of Mission, questioned her abilities. She was a strong-willed woman with a touch of black magic about her, and they were terrified of her. But Catherine was clever and uncompromising. La Voisin was intelligent, and she stood in front of the professors at Sorbonne University and explained how her gifts worked. She convinced the vicars and professors of theology her skills were bestowed upon her by God, and not only did they buy it, they gave their blessings. So now business was fucking
she tricked those dum-dums. Absolutely.
She got the church's official blessing and that of the
and
most
then she trolls them by wearing red all the time. Yes, girl. Yes.
Now, Catherine wasn't all work. She had her image. She liked to look nice. And she liked catching the eyes of men.
Yes.
Catherine was fucking. All right.
All right.
She had a bevy of lovers, most notably executioner Andre Guillaume, Monsieur Latour, another account, an alchemist, an architect, and a famous magician. These were all of her boos at various times.
Absolutely. Because she got fucking saddled to a dud when she was real young. So now
she thought she was getting money and security and a nice life. And if you want to do something right, you got to do it yourself.
Sisters are doing it for themselves.
She was also alleged to have several priests as lovers who would help with certain things later.
Excellent.
Demand intensified.
Excellent. She's so smart.
She's so fucking smart. And this is centuries before Rasputin. So
Rasputin is really Catherineing.
Yes, Rasputin is La Voisin-ing. So, demand intensified, and people were no longer satisfied with potions brewed from toad bones and mole's teeth. They wanted black mass, during which they could ask Satan to answer their prayers.
Oh, yeah.
If you heard the giggle in my voice, it was for Uncle Edie.
I'm so happy. I can't believe you got this story just for me.
I did it. I was so surprised, but the whole time I was just like, fuck, Edie's gonna love this. Edie's gonna fucking love this. And honestly, this is like the perfect Miss story. It has everything I love.
It has everything that you love so far.
So far. It's so good. It's so good.
Like, she's conning the patriarchy itself and the church
and
itself.
Benefiting beautifully.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Just benefiting from the misogyny, right? Because she's a midwife, and that is just, no man will touch it. So she's like, I'm going to be queen fucking midwife. And then I'm going to convince these stupid fucking men that I'm not a threat.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so now people wanted black mass, and La Voisin was more than happy to accommodate. Catherine entertained her guests all day at her home, her very, very fancy home, which she decorated especially for the purpose of performing her arts, with music and refreshments in richly decorated salons, or at night in the small garden belonging to her house behind her home.
That rules. And I hope her dud husband is in just some like little fucking closet with his thumb up his ass doing nothing.
Honestly, he's not really mentioned too much besides his failing business. So I don't really know where he is.
So he's just kind of like fading into the background. I hope either he's like in a closet doing nothing, or just like supporting her every step of the way. Just
or like,
Catherine, I love this. I love this, and
definitely.
I love you. And I couldn't make it happen, but you can.
I can't imagine that's it. But he might, because he's benefiting. He's getting all this money.
Yeah,
I'm sure
he could be.
I'm sure he's got a cute little velvet waistcoat that he's walking around, and a feather in his fucking hat. I was going to list some of her like big clients, but we will never know who they are, and I can't pronounce them. So they were big, important people. And her most important client would be Madame de Montespan, a high-ranking courtesan of King Louis's court who had her eye on the king and wanted a black mass to secure his affections.
Yes. If you're gonna ask for a black mass, absolutely do it so that you can be the top side chick of the king. Absolutely.
Yeah. Due to later true crimey bits of this story, we actually know what happened at these black masses. Before we do, Edie, Anton LaVey, father of modern Satanism.
Yes, that fucking goateed motherfucker.
And writer of the Satanic Bible, had this to say of Black Mass. The usual assumption is that the satanic ceremony or service is always called a Black Mass. A Black Mass is not a magical ceremony practiced by Satanists. Satanists would only employ the use of a Black Mass as a form of psychodrama. Furthermore, a Black Mass does not necessarily imply that the performers of such are Satanists. A Black Mass is essentially a parody on the religious service of the Roman Catholic Church that can be loosely applied to a satire on any religious ceremony. And even in its creation, dating back I think it was the 700s, like whatever, early millennium. And they were doing these like, because they had so many like monks and clerics and nothing to do with them. So a lot of them got bored and wrote these like satires of the religious,
just like parodies.
Yeah, parodies of the religious services like they dedicated their life to, which I think is
it's like National Lampoon's Catholic Mass is a black mass. And LaVey is totally right. And also you can tell from your reading of him that LaVey is an enormous fucking nerd. He's just the biggest fucking
very
Satan
serious.
nerd. He takes it so serious. Like,
serious.
Aleister Crowley had a lot of fun with it, and LaVey
he at least had fun. He had fun and got a lot of dick out of it. Like, he did it right. LaVey was like, I don't want any dick and I don't want no fun. Anyway. For La Voisin, it was basically the same thing, but it was modified for certain formulas. So some came from, and honestly, when I looked up the Black Mass, this time in French history is huge for the Black Mass. Everyone, like the Catholic Church was like, here we are, I'm the Pope, and everyone's like, yeah, we love it, we believe it. But then below that, it was just crazy debauchery, like happening all around Paris all the time.
I mean, I guess it's like Black Masses sort of are also kind of like that era's kind of like political humor, political satire, because the Catholic Church has such a huge political hold on all of these European countries at the time.
But for La Voisin and her clients, it was not a satire, and it was not a joke. So, her most famous person, Miss Courtesan, she was the central altar of worship, which means that her physical body was the altar. And then she was naked, laying as the altar with a chalice placed on her bare stomach, and holding a black candle in both hands.
Yep.
In her outstretched arms. And then it says the host was consecrated on her body and then used in love potions designed to gain the love of the king. So there's a lot
talk about
there.
The host being consecrated on her body. Does somebody like come on her
and
then
confusing.
They put the cum in a jar? Like, what's the deal?
That's what it sounds like, right?
Right? It sounds like somebody.
But it sounds like but when I read it, when I read about it, the host, she's the host.
Well, she's the altar.
How would they?
And then
the host was consecrated. Is she coming
and then putting her cum in a jar?
That's what I don't understand, because it says the host was consecrated on her body.
On her. That's why it's like somebody's.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what it was, and I don't know what it is. So Excellent. She had several associates working for her, participating in the professional magic services, particularly Adam Lesage, who was one of her lovers. And on this occasion, her lover, friend, priest, they officiated this particular mass. And it was celebrated at her home. And that same year, Madame became the chief mistress of the king. And she was in charge of his pleasure and his fun and his other mistresses.
Oh, yes. Get to be in charge of the other ladies. Oh, yes. What a dream.
Mm-hmm. What a dream.
With the limited fucking ways that women could rise to kind of any kind of power at the time, being the head mistress of the king is probably the closest that anybody could hope to get to like real influence, you know?
Yeah. And at the time, sources say that people called her the real French queen because of her influence.
Fuck yes.
So, and they ultimately, she and the king would have 7 children together. But by 1673, the king's interest was waning. And Montespan again went to La Voisin, who performed a series of black masses, officiated again by her friend, the priest. She also La Voisin provided her with an aphrodisiac, which Madame Montespan drugged the king with. I don't know if it worked, but by 1677, Madame made it clear that if the king should abandon her, she would have him killed. When the king entered into a relationship with another woman, Angelique, in 1679, Montespan called for La Voisin and asked her to have both the king and Angelique killed. La Voisin
big
hesitated.
Ask. That's a big ask.
La Voisin hesitated, but was eventually convinced. And that's all for this week.
Oh my God.
That's where the true crimey parts come in. So there's a lot of this that could like be sort of called true crime because she's technically a witch for the time and witchcraft is illegal and abortions were illegal in France at this time. So that's not the crimey bits I'm getting into. There's like real crime about to happen.
Oh my God. She's about to get into the shit.
She's about to cement herself in history.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so that is La Voisin. And I can't really give
love it.
Yeah, I am so into her. Just like, and listen, that's not like I condone what she does, but for the time period that she is in, she is a highly successful midwife. She's a fortune teller, which literally Paris was literally overrun with fortune tellers. They were dime a dozen, and she's the fortune teller of the aristocracy. It's just sort of incredible how far she's gotten. And now she's basically BFFs with the king's chief mistress.
Yes. This is absolutely excellent. This rules. Yeah. I mean, it's fucked up. It's also like deeply.
Listen, right? It's fraud and
doing it for themselves.
Exactly. Like it's fraud and manipulation, and you're really kind of playing on people's religious beliefs, and like that's not great. But there's no reason
it's
to
the
focus on
1600s.
ethics.
What are you gonna do? Love it. Thank you, Miss, and thank you, Kevin, for some incredible stories.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kev, your pizza story blew me out of the water. I think it's crazy.
From pizza to poisons, story. I guess our theme is ingestibles. So we got Spumoni Gardens and new store that's just as good as Spumoni Gardens, but not
called The Square.
That's a very cute name. Just don't advertise
square
that
pizza.
Way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so
y'all,
funny.
If you have any questions or comments or you want to reach out to us, you can do so on social media at Creepy Inquiries Pod. You can shoot us an email, creepyinquiriespod@gmail.com. If you're interested in our sources, please check out our website at creepyinquiriespod.com. And if you are so inclined, wherever you are listening, please give us a cute little review or rating, whatever you're into.
Yes, please.
5 stars or I will poison you.
5 stars because Uncle Edie's not joking.
I'm not joking, bitch.
I'm not joking, bitch.
I'm not joking, bitch, at all.
Oh, wow.
Oh, at all.
Guys, I really like this episode.
This was an excellent episode. Listener, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We loved it too. Until next time.